So as we start to bring some movement in, we'll hug the knees into the chest and rock side to side. See how the low back is feeling. And hopefully have your block and your straps nearby. And we'll make some circles here. Just check out how the low back is feeling and just kind of noticing the sensation of the circle that we're creating on our mat beneath the low back. And giving it a little massage here. And we'll start out opening the front of the hips. So we'll bring our feet down to the floor and walk those feet nice and wide to the outer edges of the mat. And we'll start windshield wipering. We can spread those arms out and just relax them down. We're going side to side here. And we'll start out dropping the legs over to the right. It's okay for the neck, turning the head to the left. You're just kind of extending that left hip forward a little. So just gently turning on that left glute muscle and pulling that left knee away from the body. Just check out the stretch in the thigh. Notice if you feel a stretch in the front of the hip. Feel it deep down under that left hip bone. Getting into the hip flexors and the psoas there. And then release, windshield wiper side to side, just loosen everything up. And then dropping over to the left this time. Head can turn right. Send that left hip forward. Stretching down towards that right knee. Again, see if you can check in with any sensation of a stretch in front of that left hip bone. Deep down in there. It kind of comes up above the hip bone. Starts to wrap around the right a bit. And then release out, windshield wiper side to side. So let's start with an inversion here. So we'll grab our block or pillow that you might have handy. And I'll bring my feet back to hip width apart. Maybe 6 inches for ladies, 8 for men. Lift the hips, slide that block or pillow underneath the tailbone. So all the way down at the base of the spine. So it's going to be in the upper glutes. And then I'm going to shimmy my shoulder blades underneath my back a bit here. Open up the chest. And then one leg at a time, hugging knees in, stretching those legs up in the air. And we'll start out just bending and straightening those knees. And then we'll flex and point the feet with those legs elevated. Just noticing any sensations in the calf and the lower leg. if it feels tight or if it feels soft and pliable. Just kind of noticing. And then we'll circle the ankles. Switch it up and circle the opposite direction. We'll lift those arms up and circle the wrists here. And switch it up, circle in the opposite direction. And then we'll just shake everything out, shake the arms, shake the legs. And then maybe a little tapping. So you can make a fist or keep the palms open and start with the hip area. And we'll start going up the side of the thighs. And then maybe opening the palms and maybe reaching up and tapping a bit around the calf area, the shins, the knees. And back to the thighs, back of the legs, hamstrings. We'll tap it all over the low body. Up and down. And then just hold. Arms are still up in the air. Take a breath here and check out the sensations in the palms of the hands and the legs. And just take a few intentional breaths here. Breathing in and out through the nose. This big long exhale to relax the nervous system. Come into another stretch here. We'll hug that left knee into the chest and flex the right foot, and nice and slow, right leg lowers down towards the floor. And let it hold here, just hovering off the floor for a breath or two. And then we'll release, relax that right leg down. Left foot comes flat on the floor. Stretch and inhale, left arm overhead. So we're working opposite sides of the brain here, extending the right leg and the left arm. Once again, we're getting a stretch into the front of that right hip and just resting in a little baby back bend. So if this causes any discomfort in the back, you can remove the block or the pillow. And take a few intentional breaths here into the low belly first, then the chest. Big long exhale. Release back to center. Hug both knees into the chest. This time we'll hug that right leg in. Stretch the left leg up in the air. Flex that left foot. And we start to lower that left leg down. Nice and slow. Let that left leg hover off the floor for a few breaths. Pull the belly down to the spine here. And then release. Relax the left leg down. Right foot comes back down, and then inhale. Stretch right arm back overhead, pointing the left toes. But we draw that right shoulder down away from the ear, so we're not creating tension for the neck, the shoulder. Just take a few breaths here. And then release. Everything comes back to center. Both feet are flat on the floor here. And I'm going to check again once again with my shoulder blades. Just kind of shimmy them underneath the back and coming into a bridge pose here. So lift the hips, and rather than slide the block out, maybe we can just kind of grab it in our hands and hold that block underneath. So maybe we can lift it off the floor an inch or two. Ground those feet down into the mat. Turn on those thigh muscles. And take a few breaths here. And then when you're ready, removing the block, release the spine back down onto the mat and relax the back, hug the knees into the chest, rock side to side, grounding the spine as we come into a happy baby. So check that tailbone. If you notice the tailbone is rolling up off the floor, ground the tailbone back down. Creating that connection to your mat and the earth beneath for the whole spine. Neck and the head are relaxed down. So just kind of check in and notice if you're hugging the knees into the chest. See if you can draw those knees to the outside of the body. Like you could tap your knees on the floor, on your mat beside your torso. And then release. We're going to come into our figure 4 hip stretch next. So you can grab your strap if you like. And we'll hook both feet up into the strap. And we'll start with that right leg, crossing that right leg over the left. If you don't have a strap, the hands can clasp back behind that left thigh. So check in here with the right hip and how this feels for the low back. Hold it still, or rock or sway. Maybe it feels good to circle that left leg. Circle in both directions. Whatever feels good here. Close the eyes and just take a few breaths. Now we'll release that right leg, stretch it out nice and long. And taking the strap into my left hand, opening that leg out to the side. Option to do a yogi toe hold and reach for that left big toe. Or you can have the hand back behind the knee, the calf, wherever you can support. Maybe the ankle you can reach for. And coming through center, switching the strap into my right hand, and now crossing that left leg to the opposite side. Flex that left foot while we're here. Getting into the outer left hip, and you can stretch that left arm out again. Turning the head to the left. And then release. Left leg comes back to center. Right foot comes in the strap. And left foot comes out to figure 4. So same thing here on this side. Rocking, circling the right leg, or just taking a moment to be still. As you draw that right leg in a little bit closer to the body, maybe that left arm, the left elbow can gently push that left knee out and away to deepen it if that feels right for your body today. You take a few intentional deep breaths here. In and out through the nose. And then releasing, left leg out. Right leg opens to the right. Just kind of checking in, and if you notice the body rolling all the way over to the right, kind of bringing that leg back up a little bit higher so the left side of the body can stay grounded. And then you can also extend that left arm out. Relax the arm down. Take a few breaths here. And then release back to center. We'll cross that leg. Strap comes into the left hand here. Flexing that right foot. And then again, you can stretch that right arm out, turn the head to the right. And then release, come back to center. Both feet come in the strap, and the thighs stretch, opening those legs to a V. I'm going to try and really push my heels up and away, bringing the strap a little bit up towards the ball of the feet, really flexing my feet here. Take a few big belly breaths here. You can rock or just be still. Relax the jaw. Relax all the muscles in the back. If there's any gripping, just let everything go. And check in with the breath in the belly. And then release, feet come back to center. We'll just shake those arms out, circle the wrists a bit here if you've been gripping on your strap. It's kind of opening and closing the hands. And we'll do one more stretch down here before we move on. So we're going to do our banana pose or half moon pose. So stretching that strap up overhead. Relaxing the shoulders down away from the ears. We'll walk our feet over to the right. Inching the upper body over to the right. So relax that left arm. You can bend that left elbow. Relax the shoulders, and then option to cross that left foot over the right. So our first side, lean. Take a few breaths here. As we stretch into that left hip. And just follow the stretch. See how far up it goes. Maybe it goes up into the armpit or into the left arm. Maybe you can trace it down the outside of the left leg. Just checking in with all the sensations of the stretch. And releasing back to center, we'll switch sides. Walk those feet over to the left corner of the mat. Arms come over to the right. So just notice if there's tension and that right arm is off the floor, you can relax it down, bend the right elbow. Option to cross that right leg over the left. Take a minute here. Noticing any sensations on the right side of the body. If there's any pinching or discomfort in the low back, come out. Make it a little bit more shallow. And releasing out back to center. We'll hug those knees into the chest and rock side to side. Just make some circles, just kind of loosening up the back here. We'll start out with a little twist here, dropping the knees over to the right, stretching those arms out, knee down twist, and then feel free to have your block or your blanket, a pillow between the knees, maybe a towel, or under the knees. Turn the head to the left if that's okay for the neck. And then coming through center, just rocking it out for 2 breaths. And then dropping those knees over to the left. Head turns right. So both shoulder blades are grounded down here. That right shoulder blade's off the floor. You can shimmy the upper body over to the left a bit. Restorative twist. And then release back to center. So we're going to make our way back up to sit. You can feel free to come up gently, rolling onto your side and pushing up if you'd like to try some spinal rocking. Hands are back behind the knees and just rocking up and back a few times. And then we'll all meet up in a modified boat pose. And if it's too much to have both legs up, you could do one leg at a time. Pulling the belly button in towards the spine, relax the shoulders. Option to release the hands, straighten the legs. Your pose. Breathe here. And then release down. We'll do a seated cat-cow. Coming into a little back bend, lift the heart, lift the chest, take a breath in, and then exhale, curl back. A few rounds here, breathe in, and out, breathe in, and out. One more time, in, and out. So let's release, and we're going to flip over and come into table pose on hands and knees. So take your time. You can have your blocks set up at the top of your mat if you like. And we'll start out with a little cat-cow here. Breathing into the back bend. Exhaling and curling. Closing the eyes and letting your breath guide you. Rather than the brain telling the body when to move. When you're ready to breathe in, into a little baby back bend. When you're ready to breathe out, exhale and curl, arch the back. The whole time we're here, the belly's pulled up to the spine. Take some nice deep breaths here as you move. In, and breathing out. So our way into a little bit of strength here. Coming into a down dog. So we'll tuck our toes under, lift those hips up. And we'll start out just kind of walking the dog, bending opposite knees, moving really slowly here with these legs. Draw the heels down towards our mat. And we're going to come into a three-legged dog. Make sure your head is relaxed and shake that head yes and no, just kind of releasing the neck while we're here. We'll ground that right foot down. Inhale, stretch that left leg up, three-legged dog. And then release, left leg down. We're going to do it a few more times here. Pull the belly into the spine, lift that left leg up, stretch it up. And release down. We'll do 5 times total. Here's 3. Breathe in, lift the left leg. Exhale down. 2 more, breathe in. Release down. 1 more, stretch it up. This time we'll bend that left knee, let that foot fall back behind us. Pull the belly into the spine. And then release, unwind it back down to center, drop the knees, pull back, release the low back, and relax in child's pose. So feel free to rest your forehead on a block or a pillow here. Circle the wrists a bit, shake them out. And take a few breaths. Relax the shoulders, soften the jaw. And then we'll come back up and we'll do the same thing on the other side. So coming back to down dog, tucking the toes and lifting the hips up. So check those hands, fingers are spread nice and wide. The wrist creases are parallel with the top of your mat. Round the left foot, inhale, stretch that right leg up, three-legged dog. While we're here, we try and draw the left heel down towards the mat. Right leg releases down. Again, breathe in, lift up. Exhale down. Breathe in, stretch it up. Exhale down. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. And this time we'll hold that right leg up. We'll bend that right knee and let that right leg fall back behind us. That foot drops back, open the front of the right hip. And then unwind, release everything. Again, drop down to child's pose. So this time maybe doing a wide knee child's pose if you didn't last time, just switching it up. Knees are out nice and wide, big toes are together. Come down and relax, circle the wrists again if that feels good. We'll come into a little twist here, so feel free to grab your block or your pillow. So I'm going to have my left palm on the floor, and I'm going to thread that right arm through for a restorative twist for the upper body. Just kind of rest the side of the head on the floor, on your block, on your pillow. And my right arm is totally relaxed down here. So the lower back is just resting here. The upper back is twisting. Lower back is grounded and stable. Switching sides. Coming up, my right palm is on the floor, and now that left hand will thread through. Resting on the block or pillow or the mat, the side of the head. And then release. Coming back to center. We're coming to our puppy pose. So I'm going to bring my knees back underneath my hips, back into table. Stretch those arms out front and pull back like you're coming into child's pose, like you're sitting back on your heels. But we keep the hips up for our puppy pose, and nice stretch for the low back here. Walk those arms over to the right, maybe to 1 or 2 o'clock. So while I'm here, I'm thinking of drawing my hips towards my left heel or down towards the mat a bit. And then if you want to go a little deeper, left hand can come on top of the right. With a big side stretch, see what you feel coming out of that left hip. And relax the shoulders away from the ears, relax the jaw. Switching sides, walking those hands over to the left, so maybe they come to 10 or 11 o'clock now. Drawing the right hip downward. And then if you want to come deeper, right hand just comes on top of the left. Relax the shoulders and the jaw. Take a breath or two here. And release. Come back to center, back to table. Wrists come underneath the shoulders. And again, take a few rounds of cat-cow before we move on. We'll circle the wrists, circle the hips here. Just kind of loosening everything up. Switch it up, circle the opposite direction. Release back. We're going to come into a modified camel before we make our way up to stand. So feel free to have a block handy. And we're going to come up onto the knees. If you have a towel, and put it underneath. Or you can just pull back your mat if you want to make a little extra padding for the knees if you're on a hard floor. So I just kind of pulled it back. I'll put my knees here where it's nice and padded. I'm going to bring my block back here, and you can have it at any height. So I'm coming up, pulling the belly into the spine, pointing my tailbone down. And we'll start out with regular camel. So you can make fists with your hands and kind of into low back here, like the top of the glutes. You can have your hands in your back pockets like you have jeans on. Take a breath or two here, and then lifting and opening the heart. Draw those elbows towards one another. If it's okay for the neck and there are no neck issues, you can lift the chin, let the head drop back. And then release back to neutral. Just shake out those arms a bit. We'll come into a modified camel. So you can have that block right here by the left ankle. Use that block for support here. Inhale and stretch that right arm up. So you can keep it right here. That right arm reaching straight up above you. And if you'd like to come a little bit deeper, come back down to that left heel. Deepening the back bend. Release, come back to center. Both arms come front. Shake it out a bit. Switching sides. Block comes over by that right ankle. So finding your pose, and you can keep it here the whole time with both hands nice and stable on the low back. If this is perfect for you, stay right here. Come into your camel here. If you'd like to go deeper, reaching for that block, stretching that left arm straight up. So while you're here, check in with the belly, pulling the belly into the spine. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. And then final option, if you'd like to come deeper, reaching back for that right heel. Stretching back overhead. Whole time, belly's pulled in. And then release. Arms come back. And we'll come back down to table. I'm going to just kind of step off my little pad here. Straighten out my mat again. And once again, we're going to make our way up to stand. So feel free if you'd like to come through table pose and down dog with me, or any way that feels safe to get up using your chair or your couch or your wall nearby. Tuck those toes if you're coming with me. Stretching back into a down dog. And I'm going to start to bend my knees and walk those hands back. So take a breath or two here. In the forward fold, if you're coming up this way, nice soft knees. Your hands can be on the floor. You can have your hands on your blocks. And if there are no issues with the low back, you can come into ragdoll, grabbing opposite elbows. Any issues with the low back? You support. Keep those knees bent. And then nice and slow, we'll make our way up to stand. And rolling those shoulders back and down when we get there. Rolling them forward. So we'll come through our standing series now. And we're going to start coming into warrior two, stepping that right foot forward. Left foot is parallel to the back of the mat. Bending into the front right knee. Warrior two. Looking over that front right hand. Tipping back, peaceful warrior. Take a breath or two here. That front knee is still bent. We're going to flow back and forth a few times into side angle pose. Exhale. Stretch that left arm overhead. And see if you can use the right arm as a guide rather than slumping down and leaning. Use those muscles on the side of the body. Flowing back again, breathing in to peaceful warrior. And exhale. Come back, breathe in. Exhale, side angle pose. One more time. Breathe in and out. Then we'll come back to warrior two, straighten that leg. You can adjust your footing before we come to triangle if you want to bring those feet a little closer together. That feels more stable. And leaning out to the right, coming into your triangle. So feel free in triangle to have the block at any height for support. Have it in front of that right ankle. You can have it back behind. And then coming back up, reverse triangle. Sliding the left hand down that left leg. It's available for the neck, looking up towards that right hand. Belly's pulled into the spine here. And then release. Come back to center, drop those arms, shake it out. And we're just going to flip those legs around to the opposite direction. Take your block with you if you're using it. So checking out, back foot is parallel to the back of the mat, bending into that front left knee, warrior two. Belly's pulled in. Looking over that front left hand. See if you can kind of relax the shoulders down away from the ears, shake them out a bit, draw the shoulder blades towards one another on the back. And then tipping back, peaceful warrior, stretch it back. Belly's pulled in here and that front knee is still bent. And now coming forward, exhaling into side angle pose. That left palm is facing up. Stretch that right arm overhead. The right pinky toe side of the foot is grounded down into the mat. And we're reaching with those right fingertips. Now we'll flow back and forth a few times. Inhale back, peaceful warrior. And exhale, back to side angle pose. Inhale back, peaceful warrior. Exhale, side angle. Two more times. Stretching it back. Exhale forward. Last one, coming back. You can feel free to go slower or faster. Stretch it out. Come back, warrior two. Straighten out that left leg. Give it a rest. Adjust the feet for triangle if needed. Reaching out over that left foot. Left arm drops down. While you're here, think of rotating those left ribs forward towards your screen. Take a few breaths here. Working on balance. A little twist. Stretch down the right side of the body. Just what you feel, hit the torso and that right hip. Stretch down the inside of that left leg. Back up. And then we'll come to our reverse triangle. Right hand slides down that right leg. If it's okay for the neck, looking up towards that left hand, left palm facing back behind you. And then release, coming back to center. Just drop the arms, shake out, roll those shoulders. Both feet facing straight ahead, parallel now. Inhaling, stretching up. And exhale, arms come down. Feel free to have your block here at any height. or hands come down towards the ground. Adjust your footing if you want to come deeper. Just stretching those feet out a little wider on your mat. If you want to have it more modest, bringing the feet a little closer together. And wherever you are, let that head hang. Shake the head, yes and no. Take a few breaths here. Deep, long exhale. A little gentle inversion here with support. With the head a little bit lower than the heart. And I'm going to straighten my arms out a bit and feel free to use your block and put your left hand on the block. Be up high as well. Or left hand grounds to the floor. Inhale, twist and open to the right. Release, right arm comes down, switching sides. Inhale, twisting and opening left. Soft knees here. And then exhale. Left hand comes down. I'm going to bend my knees and start walking my feet closer together. Bring up into goddess pose from here. So I'm going to get my feet nice and grounded, all four corners of my feet. Pull the belly into the spine, start making my way up, but feel free to use support. Find our cactus arms. Maybe pulsing up and down a few times. Let's stretch it all the way up into star. One more time, leaning to the side. Then inhale up. And leaning to the opposite side. Inhale up. Exhale, release. And we'll just come into a gentle balance pose today. So stepping out, we're just going to come into our traditional tree. So grounding that left foot, feel free to have that right foot stay on the floor the entire time. Next step, you could bring that foot to the left calf, or the foot can come up above the knee. So go ahead and take your time, set up, find where the pose feels right for you. Finding whatever arms feel best for you today in your tree. Hands together in front of the heart. Take a few breaths here, pulling that belly into the spine, and like we're zipping up our coat. Keeping that spine nice and long and tall, crown of the head reaches straight up. Let your hands be wherever they need to be. Maybe it's hands on hips to help with balance. Maybe the arms need to be out to the side. Maybe you're using a chair for support. And then from here, we're going to bring that right knee back to the center, holding that right leg up in the air, and then just let it come down and swing. Arms can be wherever. Just working on balance here. And then release. Shake out the left leg. 3 rounds of breath. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. One more time, sun breath. Inhale it up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Bend those knees. Breathe in, flat back. Exhale, release. And come all the way back up. Inhale, both arms up, palms together. And lower those hands in front of the heart. We'll switch sides, coming into tree, grounding that right foot, finding your tree on the left. Could be keeping both feet on the floor the whole time. Find your pose, find your arms. Relax the shoulders down away from the ears. Tree arms and stretch and extend the arms up overhead. Your tree branches. Take a breath or two here. And then exhale, release down. So just roll out the shoulders, shake it out. We're going to make our way back down to sit. Any comfortable seated position. And with the hands resting on the knees, close the eyes and just start turning that head side to side. Relax the shoulders. Bring the right ear to the right shoulder. Maybe the left fingertips reach for the floor. Now turning the head to the right, just drawing the chin towards the right shoulder, just to change up the stretch a bit here. Take a few breaths, big inhale through the nose. Big long exhale. Release, everything comes back to neutral in the center, this time left ear, left shoulder. Right fingertips reach for the floor. Turning the head to the left, drawing the chin towards the left shoulder. And then release. Everything comes back to neutral in the center. Breathing in, lift the chin up. Opening the throat chakra here. A big exhale, chin towards chest. Again, breathe in, lift up. And exhale, release. One more time, breathe in. And out. And coming back to neutral with the head and neck and finding a position to just kind of take a few minutes for Shavasana here. So you can feel free to stay seated if that feels good for you. You can go ahead and come back and lie down again. Hug the knees into the chest, rock it out. So feel free to just stretch out and rest here. Any issues with the low back, you can always do Shavasana with the knees bent and feet flat on the floor. And you can bring the knees together if you're doing it this way. Just kind of bring those feet to the outer edges of the mat. And let the knees just relax here. So perhaps check in with the shoulder blades, kind of shimmy those shoulder blades underneath the back, lift and open the chest, and then find a comfortable position for the arms. Maybe the palms are open, maybe they're resting on your belly. Fixing the eyes and just checking in with the breath here. Once again, checking in with the body scan from head to toe and just noticing any sensations in the body. Anything in the head and the eyes. Check out the forehead and the temple and the jaw. neck and the shoulders. Take a moment here in silence as you continue to just kind of scroll around the body and just notice any physical sensations. Bringing the awareness to the breath. And just watching the rise and the fall of the belly here. In the comfort of your own home, feel free to stay here in Shavasana, taking a little bit more time for stillness. But if you're ready to come out, we'll start hugging those knees into the chest, rocking side to side. Any movement or any stretch here that feels good. And then we're just going to roll over onto our side. Take a little pillow with that bottom arm. And then putting the palms down, pushing back up to sit. One final moment here, closing the eyes. In a seated position and just checking in with the breath. Using the breath as an anchor. Keep us grounded and connected wherever we are, whatever we're doing. There's always an opportunity to stop and just check in with the chest and the belly and the sensations of the breath as they come in and out of the body. Bring our hands together in front of our hearts, closing our practice with a loving kindness meditation. May you be happy. May you be healthy in body and mind. And may you be filled with a sense of ease.